Did you ever feel like people weren't listening when you talk? Here's some things to be able to ask yourself when you don't think that people are really listening to you. Here's just 7 simple ways to make people or to cause people to want to listen to you. Here's number 1. Have you been checking the tone with which you're speaking? I can't tell you enough how that almost all of life isn't what you say, but it's how you say what you say. It's how you sound. It's your body movement. It's your body language. It's all of those things. Are you checking the tone that you speak to other people with? Because remember, I know for all the people in my life, I know individuals who don't necessarily really understand that it's what people hear that matters. It's not what they have to say. If I want my team to listen to me in something that I'm trying to teach them, I need to say it in a way to where it sounds good to them. So the first thing is it's the tone that you're speaking, what you're speaking. Make sure that you've got a really happy tone or a joyful tone, or you've got a tone that actually puts off the idea that you really care for the people that are around you. Number 2 is that, do you say what you say often enough? Do they hear it? If you want to know if they're listening to you, do you say it often enough? Do you know there's different statistics that are out there that tell us all about this, that you really have to speak something about 7 times before an individual will ever begin to hear really what you're saying. When you're trying to learn something, you have to listen to that thing over and over and over and over again until it finally registers internally. And when you're speaking to people, you may think that people aren't listening, but if you really want to find out how they can really listen to you, make sure that you're saying it enough to them and you're casting those thoughts in front of people all the time. Or in certain senses of time, it's you're casting a vision in front of them all the time. You're putting it out there for them. The third thing you need to know is this: do you seek to be understood, or do you seek to understand? If in fact that I want people to listen to what I have to say or want to even have a conversation with me, I need to seek to understand them more than I need to seek to be understood. Now, I may have a frustration in my life that I just want to be understood. Yeah, I think all of us go through that at one time or another. But still, the thing that you need to realize is that, do you seek to understand others, or do you just want them to understand you? Now, the next thing is this. Number 4 is, do people feel invited into your life? Are you inviting in the way that you speak? Now, I'm not talking about bringing them home and giving them dinner or trying to be their buddies. I'm not saying any of that. I'm saying, is your demeanor inviting? Because if your demeanor is not inviting, people aren't going to listen to you, and they're immediately going to have this thought pattern that you've been this horrible person and that you're just mean, you can't get along with anybody, nobody wants to talk to you, nobody wants to be with you. And then you walk around thinking that nobody even cares for you, but that's not true. It's that you learn how, in communication, that you can actually be inviting. Now, the 5th thing that you need to understand about all of this is that, do you know what matters to your team? If I want people to fulfill a vision that I need for them to fulfill, I also need to be interested in the kind of things that they are doing inside their lives. What are they doing? What matters to them? What kind of environment can I create for them? Because I want to be able to get the best out of them. I really, really do. We have to make, instead of waiting until you get to the place to where a relationship is tremendously strained, And when it gets strained, then all of a sudden you begin to make compromises in order to be able to keep the people around you that you have in the workplace in most cases. Before that ever happens, how would it be if you actually, from the beginning, began to care about what matters to them? You have to know that. I mean, I'm not saying it needs to be your life's mission, making sure that everyone else gets their vision met. But what you need to do is you need to know what matters to them. Because when you know what matters to them, you're going to be able to expect to receive back from them the kind of performance in life, in business, with friends, at home, with people, in marriage. If you care what matters to someone else, they will care about what happens inside of you. Number 6 is, do you have credibility? It takes time for us to gain the credibility of other people. There are times when you need to be quiet, and then there are times that you need to speak. There are just times for all of that, and it takes time to build credibility, the same way as it takes time for you to build your credit. If your credit's been messed up for one silly reason or another, it may take you a year. It may take you 2 years to be able to get that back at a place where you have creditability. And credibility is the same way, is that it takes time for you to be able to build your credibility with people. And then lastly, is that, do you speak their language? Because we're separated by a common language all the time. And so I want to encourage you that what you would do is that you would really know the kind of language that you needed to speak and really come to the understanding of the words. I've even noticed that, even with people around me, that they're saying a different word, or they're saying the same words I would say, but they're meaning something completely different. Do you know the language of the people that are around you because of the different generations that they're in? If I want someone from a younger generation in my life, I'm going to need to know their buzzwords. I'm going to need to know the latest thing in the Urban Dictionary. I'm going to need to know what people actually mean and what they consider the communication to come from someone who's really not in their age group. So do you have that, not only the credibility, but do you speak their language? So let's go over those real quick again. Number 1 is your tone. Remember, you listen. People listen to tones more than they listen to content. Number 2, do you speak it over and over again so that other people can really hear it? Number 3, do you seek to be understood, or do you seek to understand? Always seek to understand in communication. Number 4 is, are you inviting? Is your personality inviting? Is your demeanor inviting? Are you a person that when a person walks into a room, are they happy to see you? Or are they really tense when they come into your presence? Number 5 is, know what matters to those around you. Know what really matters. Number 6, credibility. Take the time to gain credibility with people. And then number 7, lastly, is that you need to know how to speak their language. The 7 questions to ask yourself when you want better communication.